Turn off. And keep her bouncing. Okay, Biggie is coming back. Keep it right here. Okay.
So we kind of get the idea of just how powerful this music is. And this is why they use it against our children. All right? Because if you listen to some of the songs that they listen to, they get caught up in that beat, but we're not paying attention to the lyrics and what they're saying in the song. I'm gonna give you an example of this. With us. How many of you ever heard the song by Elvis Presley, Jailhouse Rock?
Right on.
You heard it? Okay. Now, you might have heard it, but did you really hear it? Let's see if you really heard it. All right? Yeah, somebody remembers it.
Walking through a party in the county jail. The prison band was there, they began to wait. The band was jumping and the drum began to swing. You should have heard the knocked out jailbird sing, let it rock. Everybody let it rock. Everybody in the whole cell block was dancing to the jailhouse rock. Spider-Man played it in a saxophone. Little Joe was blowing on the slide trombone. Drummer for the middle on a crack boom bang. The whole rhythm section was a purple gang. Let it rock. Everybody let it rock. Everybody in the whole cell block was dancing to the jailhouse rock. Number 47 said to number 3.
Number 47 said to number 3.
The jailbird I ever did see.
You're the cutest jailbird I ever did see. Okay? So we used to sing this when we was younger, right? But we weren't paying attention to the lyrics. Now watch.
Would be delighted with your company.
I'll be delighted with your company.
To the jailhouse rock with me, let it rock. Everybody let it rock. Everybody in the whole cell block was dancing to the jailhouse rock. Sad sack was sitting on a block of stone. We're over in the corner weeping all alone. The warden said, hey buddy, don't you be no square. You can't find a partner, use a wooden chair.
Right? If you can't find a partner, then use a wooden chair. Okay?
Everybody let's rock. Everybody in the whole cell block was dancing to the jailhouse rock. Shifted Henry said the bucks for heaven's sake. The one's looking out just to make a break. Bugsy turned to Shifty and he said, nix, nix. I want to stick around, I want to get my kick.
So instead of being able to escape, he said he want to stay there and get his kicks. Okay?
Everybody let's rock. Everybody knows that I'm wrong. Put that into the jailhouse rock. Down into the jailhouse rock, 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 rock.
So even back then, they were pushing a homosexual agenda. Okay? And we have to start paying attention to what our children are listening to. All right? We let them listen to Beyonce and all Jay-Z and all of these different rappers and entertainers, but you have to listen to what they're saying in the music. You have to listen to the lyrics, you know, because it's affecting them on a subliminal level. And at the same time, you know, you are what you eat or you are what you consume. So if you're consuming all these curse words and all this sexual meanings, it's going to become a part of you. All right? But I didn't think you would be. I thought you'd be surprised to hear, to really hear what Jailhouse Rock was really saying, actually. But now I'm gonna switch gears a little bit. I'm gonna move to this piece. Is called "All the Ways That Big Brother is Watching." All right.
This is John W. Whitehead, author of A Government of Wolves, the emerging American police state, bringing you a message about the state of our nation. Everything the great science fiction novelists predicted has come true. From Aldous Huxley's Brave New World to George Orwell's 1984 to Philip K. Dick's writings on down the line, Ray Bradbury, everything they predicted many, many years ago has come true. You may not believe that, but if you keep up with the rise of technologies we're seeing today, it's getting pretty freaky. Orwell said in his book 1984, you had to live as if everything you did was being watched, except in darkness. The problem with Orwell, as he wrote his book in the late 1940s, even in darkness now, you're going to be listened to. As you go about your daily business in America, you are filmed or surveyed at least 20 times per day. You're being watched continually. The police can drive by your home, and they do, by the way, folks, with Stingray devices, which are located in their car. They act as fake cell phone towers. They download everything you're doing in your home. They're watching everything. They're listening. They're recording it. They have Doppler radar devices, which are semi-heat detecting devices. They can go by your home. They point at your home. They can see if you're at home. Now, if they want to do a SWAT team raid on you, yeah, they know you're at home. Or if they don't want you to be home, and they want to go in your house under the U.S. Patriot Act and download everything from your computer to see what you have in your home, that's legal under the sneak and peek search.
Now remember, they couldn't pass the Patriot Act until what? Until what happened? 9/11. Okay? So 9/11 was the catalyst for a lot of these things that they're doing now. All right?
America, of course it violates the Constitution, but it's legal. The Department of Homeland Security, which is really the mastermind behind a lot of this in working with the FBI, is handing out license plate readers to police departments across the country where they go by down your road. They can collect up to 1,800 images per hour. They can tell where you went to the dentist's office, a psychiatrist's office, to a political rally, where you're headed. They can track you. Google now admits on your cell phone, just by the power usage, as you're driving around the city, they can track you exactly where you go. That's all fed into an intelligence cloud. Did you know that Amazon built a multi-million-dollar intelligence cloud for all 17 intelligence agencies to use? And all this information is fed into it. They analyze it, and they think you're a criminal. They could come get you. By the way, there are numerous new federal laws passed every year across the country. This doesn't count state laws and city laws, creating new criminal behavior, such as having a chicken in your backyard, a vegetable garden, solar panels, those kind of things, collecting rainwater. So you can be a criminal. There are 300,000 regulatory crimes by the federal government. So the average American is creating, they're saying now 3 to 5 crimes a day, and you don't even know it. And we now know the National Security Agency, which is supposed to be protecting us, is downloading about 2 billion of our emails a day. This is American citizens. Text messages, Facebook posts. Remember the Fourth Amendment the founding fathers gave us? It says before the government's to do surveillance on you, they have to have evidence of some kind of criminal activity or a really good, strong, reasonable suspicion that you're committing it before they can do surveillance. But they're downloading everything we see. Even your TVs now, your Samsung TVs, your new smart TVs, you can do voice commands, tell it to come on, change channels and stuff like that. Anything you say in the room is going into the television set, and they admit, Samsung and other corporate entities that make these kind of television sets, those voice commands are collected and sent to an internet service. And where does that go? Up into that intelligence cloud that I mentioned earlier, and the government knows everything you're talking about in your home. And you have the FBI creating a huge database of DNA samples. Sometimes DNA does help catch a criminal, but why do they want DNA samples of babies they're collecting some in hospitals, of people who are arrested for a crime but haven't been convicted? Police are pushing heavy for misdemeanors now. Everything is loaded into a DNA database. Well, come to find out, your DNA can tell you who your ancestors were. Well, maybe they're troublemakers. Maybe we could deal with that somehow, the government's thinking about. Maybe some kind of pre-crime units as predicted by the movie Minority Report, written originally in a novel by Philip K. Dick. So everything is being watched. And now we have drones flying over the United States legally. President Obama signed a law in effect allowing drones to fly without any civil liberties protections at all. And realize some of these drones have scanning devices. They can fly over your home and scan everything you're doing in your home. They can hack into your Wi-Fi, computers, download this and that. You have hummingbird drones that can fly up to your window, watch what you're doing, record what you're saying, insect drones inside your house. All these things are there, folks. So what have we come to? We are at the end of the age of privacy. There's nothing we do that's private today. We're going to have to get active at the local level. We're going to have to make sure our local government stand up to the federal government and say no to the NSA snooping, no all this snooping. Get those Stingray devices out of your local communities, those license plate readers. If you don't, I mean, these all violate the Constitution. If you don't do something about the local level, you don't get down to your local city council, and they don't start passing laws and resolutions against this, you might as well chuck it in. The Constitution is worthless and there's no privacy. The time to act is now. There may be no tomorrow. For more information on the Rutherford Institute, visit us at www.rutherford.org.
So you can see kind of what's going on. See, your phone, your computer, all of that stuff has all your information on it. When you see a criminal get arrested, a lot of times you see them come out of the home with his what? His computer. They're taking the computer out of the house because they are able to go into the computer and find out what he did or what he was into, because the computer records everything basically that you're doing on it. All right? Now, another interesting piece I want to show you in terms of technology, because I like to start off, with technology things, but I want you to see this because we talked about it last time, but now here's the video evidence, all right?
Everywhere.
Now check this out.
It's not fun to have your 2-ton SUV's brakes hacked just as you're parking in front of a ditch.
Okay, hold on tight. Hold on. Oh.
That's what I've learned from Charlie Miller and Chris Balasek, a pair of hackers who have spent the last year developing a piece of software that can wirelessly sabotage this 2014 Jeep Cherokee. It hasn't been altered in any way. There are no devices attached to it. But like many thousands of Jeeps around the world, it can be remotely hacked over the internet through a cellular connection to its entertainment system that would allow someone to take over its steering, its transmission, and even its brakes. To demonstrate that, I'm going to act as today's crash test dummy and drive it on the highway here in St. Louis, while Charlie and Chris hijack its digital systems from Charlie's house miles away. They wouldn't tell me what they had planned, but they assured me that it wouldn't be anything life-threatening.
Remember, Andy, no matter what happens, don't panic.
It's not the first time I've driven a car while it's being attacked by these two hackers. But in 2013, they were in the back seat, and their laptops were wired into the vehicle through a port in its dashboard. Now they're sending the same sort of attacks remotely, and I have no idea what they might do.
He's going as fast as I've seen him, so.
So first we're going to turn the fan on him.
Yeah, let's turn the fan on, see if he even notices.
All right, something just turned on, all the fans and AC and stuff. I didn't do that. The trick started small. Oh my God. There's a picture of Charlie and Chris in tracksuits that just appeared on the dashboard. But as I drove down the interstate, things started getting unpleasant and very loud.
This was such a fun video. Steve, I'll kick it off to Jordan.
The air conditioning is blasting, the music is blasting, and I can't see anything because of the windshield wiper fluid.
Okay, do it. Do it. Kill the engine.
So we're killing the engine right now.
It says park sense. Actually, and accelerated.
I stomped on the gas, but the Jeep slowed to a crawl.
It says 43 miles an hour, but I'm not going that fast.
I turned on my hazard lights, but I was still stuck in the right lane with no shoulder to escape onto.
Guys, I'm stuck on the highway.
Oh, I think he's panicking. He's not gonna be able to hear us with that radio. It's so loud.
Guys, I need the accelerator to work again.
The accelerator won't work. It won't work!
You're doomed.
Seriously, it's dangerous. I need to move.
You gotta turn the car off!
Okay.
Now you should be good to go. Semi drove by.
All right, I'm gonna pull over because I have PTSD. Charlie and Chris have only tested the full range of their attacks on a Jeep Cherokee. But they say that hundreds of thousands of late-model Chrysler vehicles may be vulnerable through a feature called Uconnect, an internet-connected computer in the dashboard known as its head unit.
These cars, head units, expose a particular service that probably they didn't want to. It lets you do things like query it for information like the GPS or the VIN or all sorts of other things, but it also lets you just run commands.
So you have to first break into the car remotely over the cell network and then move laterally if you want to do things like send CAN messages. And those are the messages that we can use to control things like steering or the windshield wipers or braking.
They plan to release a portion of their exploit code at the annual Black Hat Hacker Conference next month. They've also alerted Chrysler, which is issuing a security patch. But they say a lot more needs to be done to protect a new generation of cars that are increasingly connected to the internet and potentially hackable. You guys basically brought this car to a standstill while I was driving on the highway, which I may never forgive you for. And that was just like an experiment. What do you think is the worst case scenario?
We wanted to point out, to show that this attack has serious consequences for this vehicle. And so we did, attack you. But we did it in as safe a way as we could, so we didn't want you to get hurt, obviously. That's why we're working, is to make sure that we figure out vulnerabilities, weaknesses, get them fixed.
We're only two guys with one car, right? So, we can't look at every car, and we want to release this information because more people like us need to be focused on this problem.
After their stunt on the highway, Chris and Charlie still wanted to show me a couple of other tricks. Below a certain speed, they can control the Jeep steering as long as it's in reverse, pop its locks, mess with the speedometer, and, of course, disable the brakes.
Okay, hold on tight. Hold on. Oh,
He's not getting out of that. I think so. We're going to be doing some pushing.
So now when you think about it, if they want to get rid of somebody, all they got to do is access their car through the computer and take them out. And it's been rumored that they've done that to people. People that were supposed to expose things, having them die in a bad car accident. But now, Brother Nassim and I, we did a presentation here a little while ago. It was called Tampering with God's Creation. All right? And I want to show you the verse that we were looking at from the Quran. All right? And this verse from the Quran is from Surah An-Nisa. All right? It's Surah 4, verse 119. It says, I will mislead them, and I will create in them false desires. I will order them to slit the ears of cattle and to deface the fair nature created by Allah. Whoever forsaking Allah takes shaitan for a friend hath of a surety suffered a loss that is manifest. Now, if you look at what this system is doing, it's tampering with the creation. All right? And I'm going to show you some other examples. The last few examples I showed, we talked about GMOs and how they were messing with the DNA of fish and things like that. And it also shows you how they can create clouds and make it rain. Okay? But now I want you to see this, because this was something that just came out this week. All right? So I want you to see this one. This is really interesting.
Scientists are trying to grow human organs in pigs. A team of scientists from the University of California, Davis are attempting to produce human pig embryos in order to grow human organs in pigs. To grow a human organ, such as a pancreas in a pig, one must first remove the DNA that is responsible for growing a pig's pancreas from a fertilized pig embryo using a technique known as CRISPR gene editing. A void is created after the gene editing, and human-induced pluripotent stem cells are then injected into the embryo to fill the void. The human pig embryo, known as a chimera, is then implanted into a sow and is allowed to develop for 28 days. Then the pregnancy is terminated and the tissue removed for analysis. The chimera would develop into a normal pig, but one with a human pancreas that would be ready to be harvested for transplant. Human-induced pluripotent stem cells are adult cells that have been reprogrammed into stem cells. They can develop into any tissue in the human body, including corneas, lungs, hearts, livers, and kidneys. With pigs serving as biological incubators for human organs, scientists could potentially grow any organ when needed. However, a major concern is that the human stem cells could migrate to the pig embryo's brain, which would make it somewhat human-like. The research is highly controversial, as many are worried that growing human organs in pigs may lead to a new source of animal abuse, despite the fact that it may help to ease the shortage in organ donations in the U.S.
This is it. Human stem cells being injected into a pig's embryo. For the first time, scientists are seeing how our cells grow and interact inside an animal. This pig, the first known chimera.
The ultimate goal for this type of research is to whether we can use this technology to generate human tissue and organs. That's going to give us a lot of unique insights.
Right now, scientists are nowhere near that goal, but recent studies have shown how that process can work using gene editing. Scientists would delete a specific piece of an animal's DNA, so its embryo wouldn't be able to grow a heart, for example. Then they'd inject that embryo with human stem cells, which move into the void and grow a human heart. The embryo would then be put back inside the animal to develop.
The possibility of growing human cells and tissues inside animals.
And the crazy thing about it is you don't know how far they are with this research. Because they only let you, they say that they're ahead 25 years of the technology that they give to us. So you don't know what they're doing in those labs, okay?
Exciting first step for the dream of generating tissues and organs for transplantation into humans. We're still far away.
To date, everything the researchers have done is legal, but what they're doing is highly controversial. The embryo is only being allowed to develop for 28 days. It's not allowed to be born. Bioethicists say this research raises a lot of uneasy questions.
the boundaries between what it means to be human and what it means to be non-human can become quite blurred. Also, you know, it's not great for the animals. There's risks for them. There's no benefits for them. It may help a lot of people, but the moral status associated with this is a deep, deep, deep question.
That word, chimera, from Greek mythology is meant to elicit fear. But the scientists argue they are trying to solve a problem and save lives, not create a monster. Christine Burak, CBC News, Toronto.
And this is stuff they want to do. They're trying to just hide it by something that they feel is good, like trying to create organs, but they just want to play Dr. Frankenstein, all right? They're just being tempted by Shaitan, to, like it says in the Quran, to tamper with creation, to tamper with nature, okay? But now, we sometimes, like, I talked to a coworker before, and he kind of said to me that some of the stuff that I talked about was conspiracy stuff, because he don't see people could be that evil, all right? Yeah, yeah, very deep. But I showed you a portion of this last time, but I think we need to revisit it, because this will help you understand, because this is what made him realize, you know, what I was saying was factual, all right? Because you have to, this is from the movie The Rope with Alfred Hitchcock, all right? But you gotta listen to what they're saying. They're saying that murder is for the privileged few, okay? And that means, like, that's a big statement, okay? But I want you to really digest this and think about it, because once you understand this, you understand why they're doing the things that they're doing, all right? Which seems so heartless and cruel and against God, all right? Here we go.
Is it all over? I am afraid so, Rupert. Oh, what a pity. In another moment, you might have been strangling each other instead of a chicken.
Mr. Goodell, really?
But a man's honor was at stake. And personally, I think a chicken is as good a reason for murder as a blonde, a mattress full of dollar bills, or any of the customary unimaginative reasons.
Well, now, you don't really approve of murder, Rupert, if I may.
You may, and I do. Think of the problems it would solve. Unemployment, poverty, standing in line for theater tickets.
I must say I've had a perfectly dreadful time getting tickets to that new musical. What's it called? You know.
The something with what's her name? My dear Miss Atwater, careful application of the trigger finger and a pair of seats in the first row is yours for the shooting. And have you had any difficulty in getting into our Velvet Rope restaurant?
Frightful.
A very simple matter. A flick of the knife, madame. And if you'll kindly step this way, oh no, step over the head waiter's body. Thank you. And here's your table.
Rupert, you're the end.
There's a hotel clerk I could cheerfully flick a knife at. Oh no, sorry. Knives may not be used on hotel employees. They are in the death by slow torture category.
Oh.
Along with bird lovers, small children, and tap dancers. Landlords, of course, are another matter. You seeking an apartment? Call on our Miss Sashwaite of the blunt instrument department.
Was it a fine idea? If it suits your purpose merely. But then we'd all be murdering each other.
Oh, no. Oh, no. After all, murder is, or should be, an art. Not one of the 7 lively, perhaps, but an art nevertheless. And as such, the privilege of committing it should be reserved for those few who are really superior individuals.
And the victims, inferior beings whose lives are unimportant anyway.
Obviously. Now,
So think about it. Who's the inferior beings? Us, right? And along with us, other minorities, poor whites, okay?
Is this where they got that movie, The Purge? It seems like it's derived from that.
Right. It's very interesting. I'm going to show you another clip, and it really sounds like The Purge. But this is, yeah, it sounds exactly like The Purge. All right. But this is kind of like the ideas that they try to push forth. All right. Now, what I started doing was going back and looking at some of the old films, because there's a lot of information in some of these older films.